What is up, future Christo, or anybody else that's watching this? I'm trying to record this now for the third time. I recorded a couple times on the phone, had issues, so I'm doing it again on the computer, and hopefully it works this time. So I'm making this vlog. This is my first vlog ever, and I'm making it to hold myself accountable. I have some big goals that I want to reach, and yeah, I'm going to use this as the catalyst to help me along the way and keep me trucking along. So I started this brand new channel. It's called Obtaining Life, and you can follow it down below. If you do and you subscribe, chances are the more people there are, the more drive I'm going to have. So I'm really excited about that. Anyway, I am going after two really big goals, and I think a lot of people might think one of these goals sounds hard enough, and why am I assigning myself two? But I want to show that it can be done. So the two goals I'm having is, the first one be a traveling or world touring musician in electronic music genre, and the second one is to be an Olympian. They both sound like pretty big things, I believe, but I think they're both totally obtainable. I'm 28 years old now, so I'm quite old to be pursuing or start pursuing at least the cycling thing. So let me give you a little backstory. I'll start with one, and then I'll kind of move to the other and say where I'm getting this inspiration from. So I started going to school, I believe it was about 9 years ago. I graduated 2 years ago in 2014. It's 2016 right now. So for a couple of years, I've moved to Italy, to Spain. We spent some time in Italy, and lived in Las Vegas. And I'm currently in the process of moving out of Las Vegas up to one of my old homes, which is Salt Lake City. I really enjoy it up there, so we're headed back up that direction. And in that process, for about 7 years, I went to school, and I bounced around majors in school a few times because I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. I did know what I wanted to do, which was music, but it was so expensive. And I was in the National Guard, Air National Guard, the military here in the United States. So they helped assist with school, which was really big. And music school was far too expensive for them to cover that bill. So I would have to pay a lot out of pocket or get loans, and I just didn't have that money, and I was kind of nervous about making that jump. So I did what was comfortable financially, and I just traded majors within the universities in the state that they would cover. And then what happened was I had a little epiphany that I have to go after what I really want to do in life, which is music. Music's the big goal. I really enjoy music, and so what I decided to do was transfer to a music production degree. And I did a little bit of a music degree in Southern Utah University, and then transferred to an online degree that was out of Florida because it was kind of tailored to what I wanted to do. And I ended up working really hard. As long as I have a goal in mind, I work really hard towards it, and a lot of times I get unexpected results. So in that scenario, I worked really hard, and grades just kind of came for me, because I'm one of those people that I feel like if you're going to do something, might as well do it really well, and don't really BS. And if I'm going to go to school, it's not to hold a piece of paper in my hand. It wasn't to spend the money and say, hey, look, I went to so-and-so university. It was because I wanted the education. And so when I went to class, a lot of people slept and they would not go to class, or they did go, they didn't do the work. And I always find that confusing, especially at school. And when it came to graduation, I got asked numerous times by the school to travel to Florida to the actual campus to attend graduation there. And it just didn't make sense financially for me, because I was saving up to move my wife, or then fiance, and I out of the country to Spain, to Ibiza, Spain, to live that part of my dream. And so I was saving, and it just didn't make sense, and they kept asking. And then, interestingly enough, graduation day comes, and they were broadcasting it live and saying the name of the students that weren't able to make it, and I was one of them. And they said, unfortunately, the valedictorian wasn't able to make it today. And then they announced my name, so I made valedictorian, top of class, which I didn't expect it all. My only goal was to be successful in school and learn as much as I could, and which I did. So an awesome perk. So there's the music thing kind of strung from there. And then since then I went to Ibiza, Spain, which if you don't know is kind of like the mecca for dance music, electronic dance music, which is my passion, what I really love. And it always has this mystique that I've been following dance music for so long. It just has this mystique that I've always wanted to go there. So I went and lived there for a little while with my wife, which was fantastic. I would have done it longer if I could, but finances and stuff, I had to come back here to the States, and I got in with a really amazing group in Las Vegas called Studio DMI, which is a mixing and mastering house, and they do the biggest names in dance music, and they focus only on dance music. So it was really good experience over there, made some really good friends, and lots of connections through that. So that's been really good. And since then, I've started my own beats. I produce beats and music that I sell to artists, but I also do mixing and mastering myself. So I took my skills from school and from the studio, and I moved on with them. So now I run Middle 8 Studios, and that's kind of the money maker. I'm trying to make money and expand that right now. So that's a big goal as well. But and then I'm here, and this is Mesquite, Nevada. And this is where my grandmother lives, and I do home care for her right now. And I trade off with other family members and such, but about a week a month I do home care, and that's kind of what gets me scraping by on bills and stuff. Okay, so that's the music thing. I've been running an artist career called Christo Electric. I'll put that down here in the description, but it's 3LEKTRIC is the artist name, and I've been doing that for about 3 years, that artist name, and producing music for it, but I'm kind of all over the place. I haven't spent not very much money on marketing on that name, but I spent a lot of time, but a lot of it was learning the ropes. And now that I've done quite a few conferences, I've been able to work in these different studio places and deal with a lot of the artists, and I understand a lot more of the music business now. I had woken up at a camping trip not too long ago with I had a dream about this artist name, and I'm not going to say what it is yet. I'm going to really reveal that in a while because I haven't told anyone else yet either. But I woke up with this artist name, and it just felt right. I'm like, wow, I could really see this being successful. So then I sat on the phone for hours that morning and just marked out all the details, the marketing details. What will my songs sound like? What's the whole persona about? And I feel really good about it. So I'm working with a couple of really talented people in marketing, and I hope to make this really next level. So that is what I'm gonna try to take this new artist career with all my new knowledge, and I'll launch this in about a year and a half or so. I'll launch the name and try to catapult it as fast as I can in the stratosphere. So that's the goal with music. As things come further and I test out the names with different people, then I'm going to reveal things to you guys. But I kind of want to keep it a secret right now because I've only told two people. Two people know the name. One's my fiance and one's a marketing friend that I have in DC. And essentially what I want to do is take this artist name and profile and these ideas I have, and then make 2 or 3 others so I can compete them against each other. And then blindly tell people, hey, there's these 3 or 4 profiles. Which artist would you like out of these? Who would you follow and why, kind of thing? Which music do you like? I'll make a song for each of them, and that kind of thing. So we'll see how that goes. That'll blow up. That's a dream for me. So I would really like to take that career that I blow up out of there and be able to travel the world for a few years, playing shows and festivals, meeting new people in the industry and stuff, making stronger connections. So then later when I retire from that, from the, at least the touring side of things, then I can come back and I'll still make music. I still will mix and master, and hopefully the studio still afloat. We're still going up, and I have some other people helping me run that at that time. So Middle 8 Studios will be the long-term goal for supplying money for myself. So, and then the Olympic side of things. I was at the a tour of Utah, which is a stage race, a lot like the Tour de France. And it's a 7-day race. It's about 850 miles, like 56,000 feet worth of vertical climbing on bicycles over a period of, the 7 days. And, pretty remarkable guys, and they're really inspirational. And I was then watching the Olympics that were going on at the same time, the 2016 Rio Summer Olympics. Got to watch the cyclists. I got to watch, athletes in all the different fields, whether it's the amazing gymnasts or the swimmers, and all these people are just so inspirational. And I got to read a little bit about Michael Phelps and hear about, some of his training techniques. And it's taking things that I've already heard before, but really, next level kind of stuff, and really staying focused on it. So one of the things was being structured and being able to use habits and rituals in his life. And when he had come across a new coach when he was a lot younger, and the coach sent, some work home with his mother to assign Michael to do, be able to visualize things. And every time he gets to the gym or to the pool, everything happens in a sequence, the exact same kind of playlist. He's in the same mindset, and he just kind of tunes out everything. He waves his arms the same amount of times. I mean, everything is ritual. But it has him as, the most winningest Olympian ever. He's got like 21 or 22 gold medals he just retired with. Gold medals at the Olympics. I think 28 total Olympic medals. And next, second place is 9. And there's a few people that are tied at 9. But, just crush the competition. And is the most awarded Olympian ever. So anyway, I think there's something to be learned from that. And it doesn't have to be just for sport and just to go to the Olympics. There's something to be learned from that in life. So another book I was reading, and I think books are knowledge, guys. So I physically don't read that much because I get quite tired when I read. So I listen to like Audible and audiobooks, which are really helpful. And a book that same kind of lines, but another super inspirational person to me, is Elon Musk, the man behind, like Tesla and the Hyperloop and SpaceX and such. And an amazing guy, and a lot of the same things are like recurring. And I realize, a lot of these really powerful, smart, inspirational, and successful people in their own fields all have the same kind of habits. So as I'm reading this book about habits, and I'm only about halfway into it right now, but I'm far enough into it, and I've heard enough examples that I'm just like, okay, I know I need to change something in my life. So one of the habits I'm getting into is vlogging. And I don't plan on doing it every day. I think every second to third day, definitely. I'm going to do it at least twice a week. I'm going to upload a vlog, and it's going to tell you, how I'm doing with, my cycling, with the music side of things. I'll talk about how many fans I've gained up to, or at what songs. I'll give you little previews of some songs that I'm working on, maybe talk to you, or have some video clips of me hanging out with other artists. Like for instance, yesterday I was hanging out with Noise Suppressor, which is super inspirational guy, Italian. He lives in the Netherlands, and he's really big in the hard style scene. And he just called me out of the blue and asked me to hang out yesterday. So it was awesome. We got to hang out for the day. And so things like that I'm going to post up, and then give you guys a little sneak preview into, these people's lives also, not just my own, and see what kind of makes some of these successful people tick. And I'm a big believer in hanging out or around and making friends with other people that are successful, or people that are more successful than you and have something to offer you. So even though I'm moving to Salt Lake, and I don't feel like it's that big of a hub for people in my fields that might be as successful as I want. LA might be a better place for the music, or the cycling might not be in the Salt Lake area. But I'm gonna work really hard to be around the right people that'll help me get to the right places, and a lot of that's gonna be really, really hard work. So. And let's jump over to the cycling side. So I've been talking for 14 minutes already, so I'll make this somewhat quick. But a couple years ago, in the spring, I purchased a road bicycle. And the hopes was I was still in the military, and I'd gained a little bit of weight because I spent so much time in the studio producing and doing such for school, working really hard on finishing up my degree. I gained a little bit of weight. And I say a little bit, it really isn't that much compared to what people might be thinking. I'm 6'3", and I got up to about 220 pounds, which is roughly, when I had done the calculations, I had something like 23% body fat or something like that. So, a little bit heavier than I am now. If you can see, I'm literally like 218 right now. And I ended up wanting the bicycle because I've never been a big fan of running. My feet start hurting and my lower back and such. So I thought I'd buy a bicycle because I've always been into cycling. I used to be really into BMX. And I figured it'd just be a really good low impact but fun way to lose weight and have fun in the sport. And I've had a blast with it since then. So for a few months there, I got my bike in about spring, and I trained really hard all year, just self-train. I didn't read any books. I'd watched a couple videos on the YouTube channel GCN. They gave, some tips and pointers, but nothing more than maybe a half hour's worth of videos I had ever watched. So it was largely just me improvising and watching video, Tour de France or something, and kind of seeing their posture and their techniques and trying to recreate that myself in my own training at home. So I got to riding, 20 and sometimes up to, 40 miles. Once or twice I got to 50, but that's like the max I'd ever ridden was like 50 miles, and that just burned me up. And I wanted to set a goal. And just like school with graduation, or right now I'm setting my goals. The goal at the time was to race at a Century ride, which is a 100-mile ride down in Zion. And by the time I got closer, I made the mistake of I was somewhat nervous that I wouldn't be able to do 100 miles, let alone like 50 successfully, because it was quite a bit of elevation gain as well. It's like 3,000, 4,000 feet of elevation gain. So I ended up racing 80 miles. That's what I paid for. I did an 80-mile ride. It was a shorter version of, the whole run. And the morning of the race, it was really stormy, like really, really bad. And supposedly there was like 500 or so applicants that had signed up. And so I'm thinking, well, they've got to cancel this race. And no one's going to show up to this thing. And so I called at like 4 in the morning because, I had to eat breakfast at like 6 to be able to make it to the race and have my food digesting enough so I could race. And they said, no, it's still on. And they said, rain or shine. And then it gets closer, and I hearing on the radio that there's flash flooding in the area. So I'm like, this has got to be canceled. And I found out, nope, it's not. I mean, I keep calling. They said it's not being canceled. So before I left that morning, I was trying to determine it doesn't sound safe to even be riding in this, let alone to be doing more miles than I've ever done in this kind of crazy weather. But the thunderstorms and lightning out here in the desert they're insane. So, it could be a safety hazard as well. And I'm surprised they didn't cancel it, but I said to myself, this is going to be what happens right now at this race today. I'm going to go. And it's going to be one of those things, kind of like it was with school and how I hope to live my whole life, is there's only so many people that will actually show up to the race. And for instance, that day, I think they said like about half the applicants, 250 or 300 people actually showed up. The rest, didn't even make it to the race and ended up forfeiting their money. And then they said, and then I thought about, well, how many people actually, it's time to ride. They see how bad the weather still is, how many people actually get on the bike and start the race. Then they have checkpoints, every 20 miles or so, and how many people make it to this checkpoint and then give up, make it to the next checkpoint and give up. And I'm sure lots of people weeded out. And I was I was a little bit further back in the pack, in the peloton when we first started. And it was, a bunch of smaller pelotons, which is a group of riders. And I'd never ridden in one either, so that was my first time ever riding in a group of riders, so I didn't know the etiquette for that, which was kind of nerve-wracking. But anyway, and sure enough, people started weeding away, and the weather was horrible, but I had a blast. I had my GoPro on me, and my camera mount broke, and I had all sorts of issues. I had to get off my bike and grab it and then try to catch back up because my camera flew off the bike, and so I had a few issues. I actually crashed into a curb head-on and flew over my handlebars, and but I thought it was fun. It was like, this is the challenge. This is like life. You're going to hit those bumps in the road, and you're going to get flung over your handlebars, or you're going to lose your GoPro or your wife or your dog or whatever it is. Things happen. Shit happens in life. And so I kind of saw it as a metaphor for life. And so I kept trucking on. I made a wrong turn. I actually ended up riding a couple extra miles. I rode about a mile in the wrong direction and had to turn back around to come back because they didn't clearly have one of the corners marked. And I wasn't with a pack of riders at the time. And I pushed like crazy. And the last bit of the race was a lot of uphill, and that's where most of the elevation gain was. And by the end of the race, as I'm pushing on, I stop at the last marker, maybe 10 miles out from the finish. They had a little water station and some bananas and food and stuff, and they said, you hurry up. They said third place, first, second, and third are together, and they all just left the tent. So she says, you're currently in fourth place. So I rode really, really hard that last 10 miles or so, and I got in fourth place. I didn't get a first, second, or third. But those guys, I found out, are all people that race often, and they're all part of teams. So these are team riders, and so they're all helping each other and drifting off of each other. And I was riding solo most of the time, and it was my first race. So I kind of saw that as, I just missed, some trophy standings and my first race ever. And it was a really good opportunity to look at life in a bigger picture. And so I got really hungry. I'm like, okay, I'm decent enough at the cycling thing. If I lose weight, and I'm much bigger than a lot of these guys, because at my height, I'm seeing it appears that a pro cyclist is around 170 to 180 pounds, which is 30 and 40 pounds lighter than I am. So I'm thinking to myself that the Olympic thing that I've had in the back of my mind forever is actually obtainable. At least right now it feels like it, right? So I'm going to train really, really hard, and politics and all that stuff, that who knows what that all turns out to be. I don't know enough about the scene. So maybe that turns out to be a real bitch, and I can't get through that, or I work really hard to get through that, and that could be the obstacle that holds me down. But physically and mentally, I know I can make it. So I'm going to work my ass off. And starting the day after the Olympics ended, the 2016 Rio Olympics, I started a strict new diet. And I don't have my bicycle here. It's about 300 miles away, but I'm going to be to it here in the next week or so. And so what I'm doing now is working on weight loss and building my lung capacity is a big thing for me right now. And that just, to me, that makes sense. So today is the rest of the days, the goal is to research the training plans, essentially. If you're starting from day one, what's a training plan? How do you lose the mass? And because, the long distance guys are really lean. And how do I get that long muscle? How can I better change my diet? But I've done a lot of diet research here the last few months, and it was to help drive my sister to a better diet. And so I figured, rather than just bag on somebody else to change their diet, why not implement a lot of the things in my own life and educate myself along the process? And so I did that. I spent a week or so with some really hardcore reading and taking an online course and that kind of stuff to further my nutrition that I learned back in school as well. So I have a really good understanding of a pretty good understanding of nutrition. So I am refocusing my diet right now, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm really, really excited. So this is a really long vlog. I'm coming up on 25 minutes, so I should probably cut it off. But in the next few days or a couple days, I'll post another one with a little bit more of my plan of attack and what I have going on at the time. But for right now, it's the research stage. I need to research, what do I actually need to do? What competitions do I need to do to work up to USA team level? So 4 years from now, when the Olympics move to Asia, I will be there. So I'm 28 right now. I know it's obtainable by 32. I know a lot of these guys have been training most of their lives, and they focus all their energy on that, and they don't have artist careers and all this other stuff. And I still think with enough work and diligence, it's all obtainable. I'm going to say one last side note is, by doing all this, it's going to take an enormous amount of time and concentration. And a big goal, not a goal, the thing that's got to happen, that's most important, is my relationship with my wife and with my family. So I'm sure people with their insane schedules and stuff, family and friends and wife get put on back burners because of training schedules or touring or that kind of stuff. And this is going to be a really hard task to do, to balance everything and still give the attention needed for, to sustain really good relationships. But I'm going to work really hard to make it work and seek professional advice, read books, watch YouTube videos, whatever I got to do. So anyway, part 1 vlog. Again, this is Christo Gill, start of a journey. Thank you for riding along with me. And who knows, maybe you're watching this for the first time in 2014 or 2020, I guess, when the next Olympics happen, and you hear about this professional DJ Olympian that has a vlog series, and maybe you're watching it then. So in which case, cool, that means I succeeded. So let's do it, guys. I hope this becomes some fuel for you to do some amazing, great things in your own lives. And this is just my story. We all have the ability to be amazing, so you just got to work for it. So let's do it. Cheers.